what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Behind the Beat. My name's Chris Langen, and today we're talking about how to play the drums in 7/8. Let's get started. All right, guys. So, most of you, I would assume, are drummers and probably have some familiarity with time signatures. Now, I would be willing to bet if you turned on the radio right now, there's a 99% chance that the song that's playing is in 4/4, or also known as common time. Basically, 4/4 is just 4 beats per bar. All right, it's a very digestible time signature. Music in that time signature is very danceable. It's easy to follow along, clap on the 2 and 4 and all that stuff. So when we hear something in 7/8, it almost kind of makes us think like, did the record skip or what happened there? So I'm here today to talk a little bit about this odd time signature. We're going to talk about what the numbers mean, how to count it, and I'm also going to show you a couple beats to get you started playing in it. All right? So let's first talk about the numbers. We've got a 7 over top of an 8. Now, what that means, a lot of people at first think that these are fractions, and I want you to get that right out of your head because it has nothing to do with fractions. The top number, which would be 7 in this case, represents the amount of beats per bar. All right, so we've got 7 beats in a measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, the bottom number, which is the 8, that tells us how we're going to count those 7 beats. All right, so the 8 represents eighth notes, meaning we're going to count to 7 in eighth notes. All right. Now, when I count to 7, I usually say the word sev because of 7 being more than one syllable. It could confuse drummers, and they might play a little bit over than what they're supposed to. So a good habit to maybe get into would just be to count to sev. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Now, there's no reason to be intimidated. Sometimes folks get a little scared about this because they think, it's weird. And I'm going to show you a couple beats here where we're going to place the snare drum so that you can get started. Now, if you're a fan of like progressive rock or progressive metal, then you've probably already heard some songs that are in 7/8. If you listen to Rush, you've heard some songs in 7/8. There are some popular songs in this time signature. So do some research and, see what you can find. There might be some songs that you actually enjoy that you never realized were in 7/8. All right, guys, let's get started. We're going to start our first beat, and I have them written down over here. We're going to play to a metronome. All right, I have it set at 120. And the first beat, we're going to place our snare on beats 3 and 7. All right. As far as the kick drum goes, I'm going to put it all over the place. I'll start off pretty simple, and then I'm going to add, notes here and there just to show you kind of where you can place your kick drums. All right, guys, let's get started. Alrighty. Next up, we're going to play snare drum on beats 3 and the and of 7. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and. All right, here's how it sounds. All right. So those two right there are the most common, maybe considered starting off beginner beats you can play in 7/8. They kind of have the most. They kind of have the most 4/4 feel, I guess you could say. It's almost like it almost sounds like a regular bar 4/4 that just gets cut off, like the record skips at the very end and gets bumped up to beat 1. That's exactly how it should feel. All right, guys, we're gonna do one more beat here. In this one, we're gonna have the snare drum on beat 3 and beat 5. Okay, here we go. All right. I just want to mention, now that I think about it, you can also add a snare on 7 or the and of 7 in that particular pattern. So you can play 3, 5, and 7, or 3, 5, and the and of 7. Let me quickly demonstrate that for you. All right, folks. Now, those are just some starter beats. There's a lot you can do in 7/8. We didn't even talk about fills and stuff like that. These are just to get you going. You may have been a little reluctant to start playing something in 7/8, so I'm here today to show you that it's really not that bad. We're counting to 7, and if you place the snare on certain beats, you can get out of that, that rotation alive. So, I will be releasing videos in the future. We'll go a little bit further on this concept. We'll talk about some fills, different things you can do. But for now, just get used to playing those beats along to a metronome in 7/8. All right, guys. I thank you for watching today. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Make sure you subscribe and hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and my website, www.chrislangendrummer.com. Also, I am on Patreon. If you would like to help support the page, we'd really appreciate it. You can become a patron. I'll leave the link in the description. Head on over to my Patreon page and check that out. We'd really appreciate having you guys. All right, until next time, see you at the next lesson.